Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Monday, the 7th of July, 2025, the year BSV comes alive. Branch your threads, expand your mind with treechat.ai, or your post put on chain. Right, let's see what we've got today. Check this out. It looks like literally the deep state and social media are going absolutely crazy over this $8.6 billion worth, well, actually even more than that. Because we've got Crypto Stacker, who has even had one of his YouTube videos taken down for mentioning it. This is how crazy it's getting. And then we've had legal notices where it looks like the deep state are actually starting to confiscate coins. So we'll have a look at that. Cointelegraph has got a story on it saying Secret Service seizes $400 million in crypto cold wallet among world's largest. Well, you know, we'll get a look at that. And somebody just sent me this one saying, well, the link to it. So it said, well, Gradecoin, the fatal 80,000 BTC BCH bug, but it is fixed in BSV, is confirmed in the article below. The fatal bug is a time-triggering and automatic event, which is discussed by many. So we'll just see what that article says. This is the actual article. It's quite detailed and quite long. So. Yeah, we'll just get through it because I think there's going to be a lot in there. Just got to touch on this, the fact that Google Gemini is about to control your messages and calls even if you say no. Google's AI assistant is about to get full access to your calls, text and WhatsApp even if you've disabled the activity tracking. I mean, yeah, talk about dystopian 101. Jeepers. We've got some 365 days of Bitcoin history. Remember, 7/7 is the 20th anniversary of the London bombings, and they did it on 7/7 because it's Cockney rhyming slang for 9/11. Rupert Lowe's response to that also was when I think it's the end, might have been the 6th, was when the Georgia Guidestones were blown up. So we'll have a look at that. And then the Kellen Schwiller countdown will be the end of the show. Right. Let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong, and transactions flying free. Just wait for the terror node, you'll surely see.
Here we go. Right. So Satoshi Stacker said here, crypto is under attack. I need your help. Retweet and comment. He said, today, YouTube restricted my channel and gave it a strike for creating daily cryptocurrency content. This also happened to many other creators, and it has happened to, and it has to stop. It's clearly a mistake, or YouTube is starting to censor crypto. Well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. And he's tagged YouTube creators and YouTube team saying, please fix this mistake. So check this out. This is what they sent him. They said, hi, Satoshi Stacker. It looks like, and then the title of his show was, wow, this 17 billion Bitcoin whale just did something crazy. Didn't follow community guidelines to help keep our community safe. We removed it from YouTube. So it looks like the deep state don't want any news of this $17 billion in BTC moving, getting out, because it might spook the cryptocurrency market and affect the price of Gradecoin, which they're all in on. This is what it looks like. So literally, they must be shitting it if they're actually doing that, because I can't see anything wrong in that title at all. And BitCrash posted end BTC after CSW said BTC will end, but that was back on March 19th, 2023. And this guy here has said, what you mean? And there it is. It looks like this. So legal notice on this particular BTC wallet. They said we. So who the fuck is we? Who is the royal we? Who's got the authority to do this? We have taken possession of this wallet and its contents. Like, what is that? Adam Back and Blockstream, by the sounds of it. You know, we'll get a look into that. And Scott posted here, can you believe it? These coins have been taken because they are perceived to be abandoned. Is it core devs trying to force Satoshi to reveal his hand? This is a whale. Is this a whale stirring? is this a whale stirring the pot? If they can steal Satoshi coins, they can steal anybody's. I go to the website and it gives me a 404 page. There is a legal notice also. BTC implementing digital asset recovery before BSV. That's a bit comedy there. So does this mean that Core can seize coins exactly as CSW was asking them to do previously, and then said we can't seize coins, it's impossible? Very interesting. I'd be well interested to know what CSW thinks. And looking at here, so this is the Bitcoin transaction here. So it says here, decoded op return, not abandoned. Prove it by an on-chain transaction using private keys by September 30th. So, I mean, what? They're trying to get the holder of those coins to actually move them, and then so they can track who it is. They've got absolutely no authority or right to do this whatsoever. So, notice to owner. See SalomonBros.com. Owner's notice. Well, what? Are they the ones who are claiming them? Look, legal notice. We've taken possession of this wallet and its contents. What right do they have to do that? Literally. So they said here, not abandoned yet. Prove it by an on-chain transaction using the private key. So they're, again, trying to get people to expose their private keys. It's absolutely outrageous. So let's see if this has got anything to do with it. So Secret Service seizes 400 million in crypto cold wallet among world's largest. Secret Service quietly amassed one of the world's largest crypto cold wallets with $400 million seized, exposing scams through blockchain sleuthing and VPN missteps. Really? The US Secret Service has quietly seized $400 million. I mean, I thought, it was unconfiscatable, is BTC's tagline. But they're saying here the US Secret Service has quietly seized nearly $400 million in digital assets over the past decade, amassing one of the world's largest crypto cold wallets. Bloomberg reported Saturday, citing people familiar with the matter. The agency's Global Investigative Operations Center has tracked funds through open source tools, blockchain analysis, and patience. Jamie Lamb, an investigative analyst with the US Secret Service, reportedly told law enforcement officials in Bermuda last month. The agency's crypto trove, much of which sits in a single cold storage wallet, results from a string of investigations into scammers, lure targets into seemingly legitimate crypto investment platforms in one typical scheme. Victims often see initial profits before the site vanishes with their deposits. That's how they do it, Lamb said. They'll send you a photo of a really good looking guy or girl, but it's probably some old guy in Russia. Again, they're trying to blame Russia for it. Blockchain trails unmasked crypto scams. Well, is this actually going to go somewhere? Or they're just going on about scammers. Oh yeah, that's why we need to increase surveillance. We know this is what they use. Yeah, I'm not really too interested in that one, to be honest with you. I am more interested in this. When a true ECN broker for Forex trading said here, Bitcoin not verified yet. Someone is saying that there is a fatal bug in BTC and BCH, which allows an attacker to own any BTC or BCH addresses, but it's fixed on BSV. So again, I mean, it's because the BSV follows the original protocol. They can't confiscate them. If the 80,000 BTC and BCH were moved using the above method, this means BTC and BCH are broken. Wow. So let's have a look at this article. Here we go. Quite looking forward to getting through this. So, has it got a date here? There we go. Published 6th of July. So this was just yesterday. Let's have a look at this. So 80,000 BTC moved, a turning point in Gregcoin history. Here we go. Right, so on July 4th, 2025, American Independence Day, $8.6 billion worth of Gregcoin was moved under circumstances that defy all conventional logic. Yeah, BTC logic, that is. This investigation reveals the backstory of an event that could redefine our understanding of cryptographic security, as in like there is none on Gregcoin. The historic event when $8.6 billion moves in silence. July 4th, 2025 will remain etched in Gridcoin history. During that day, 80,000 Gridcoin, equivalent to $8.6 billion at current prices, was simultaneously moved from 8 wallets that had been dormant for over 14 years. Each wallet contained exactly 10,000 BTC in perfect symmetry that immediately rules out any coincidence. And yeah, here they've got BTC whale. Oh, that would be the address there. Yep. 10,000 out, 10,000 in, 10,000 out, 10,000 in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All in rainbow colours there. Yeah, nice. I wonder if that indicates anything. So this surgical coordination represents the largest Gridcoin movement ever recorded in a single operation. But beyond the dizzying figures, it's the very nature of this transaction that raises questions, because unlike the usual whale awakenings, this operation bears all the hallmarks of a technical demonstration or a major cryptographic exploit. The concerned wallets, fossils from the Gridcoin era, the 8 addresses involved share troubling characteristics: identical format. All use the P2PKH, which is pay to public key hash, standard massively employed in the Gridcoin's early years. Total inactivity, no outgoing transactions since their creation between 2010 and 2011. Uniform amounts, exactly 10,000 BTC per wallet, suggesting a common origin. Same activity period, all funded during the golden age of the early adopters. Origin transaction revelation, 2 creation waves. Analysis of origin transactions reveals that the 8 wallets were created in 2 distinct waves, with different patterns that deserve documentation. First wave, April 2nd, 2011. Unified pattern, single source address, funds 2 wallets. 8 past 9 UTC. 10,000 BTC, and there's another one at 18 minutes past 10 UTC. Second wave distributed, 1:15, 1:30, 1:40, 2 o'clock, or 2 a.m. 2:01, and 10 past 2. The dormant wallet paradox. This case reveals what could be called the dormant wallet paradox. The longer a wallet remains silent, the more we assume it's lost forever. And yet, the longer the silence lasts, the more strategic it becomes. Inactivity feeds forgetfulness, but sometimes masks extreme vigilance. In the Bitcoin universe, absence of movement is not necessarily forgetfulness. It's sometimes a stance. The thesis that dormant wallets were probably lost forever seems increasingly wrong. On the contrary, the more time passes, the more facts suggest that some of these wallets are not forgotten but watched, and sometimes reactivated with surgical precision. This uniformity is not insignificant. It suggests that these wallets don't belong to distinct investors, but result from a common generation process, possibly automated. Hidden messages when the blockchain becomes communication terrain. But the most intriguing aspect of this case lies in the 4 op return messages inscribed on the blockchain just before the main transfer. These digital graffiti reveal meticulous staging. First message, declaration of war. Legal notice, we have taken possession of this wallet and its contents. And that's the one we just looked at in the op return there. An unambiguous message. The entity behind this operation publicly claims possession of the funds with legal formalism reminiscent of the real estate sieges. Second message, the ultimatum. Not abandoned, prove it by on-chain transaction using a private key by September 30th. More than a provocation, it's a technical challenge. The message requires legitimate owners to prove their possession by signing a transaction with their private keys, the only irrefutable proof of ownership in the Bitcoin universe. Third message, legitimation. Notice to owners, see salamonbros.com, owners notice. So what, they're putting notice that they're going to take possession of these coins? That's outrageous. The reference to an external site professionalizes the operation. By visiting the Salomon Brothers site, again, Salomon Brothers building was owned by Warren Buffett, We discover a complete legal notice explaining the claim procedure and establishing a legal framework for appropriating abandoned funds. Who the fuck has got the authority or right to do that? Fourth message, the artistic signature. So here we've got the 4, 8, 15, 16, 23 and 42. Here we go. Here are some of the links for the curious, but this is accessible via Archon. So again, in the op return there, we've got the 4, 8, 15, 16, 23 and 42. The famous Lost numbers from the TV series Lost. To understand the scope of this reference, we must dive back into the universe of the cult series in 2004 to 2010. These 6 numbers constitute one of the central mysteries of the plot. They appear everywhere on the mysterious island, but on the mysterious island must be entered every 108 minutes in an underground station to save the world, and seem cursed, bringing misfortune to anyone who uses them, lottery, gambling, etc. In Lost, these numbers represent the obsession with control in the face of the unknown, the question of density versus free will, and above all, the idea that certain secrets are too dangerous to be revealed. The parallel with this Bitcoin operation is striking. Someone who holds a potentially revolutionary and dangerous technical secret for the crypto ecosystem chooses to sign their exploit with these cursed numbers. Even more troubling, in Lost, these numbers equally cause a global catastrophe when their control system fails. A subliminal message about the potential consequence of this plot? But the most intriguing discovery remains to come. The episode Orientation of Lost, where Desmond reveals the crucial importance of these numbers, which must be entered every 108 minutes to save the world, was first broadcast on ABC on October 5th, 2005, exactly 20 years later than the Bitcoin deadline. This temporal coincidence is statistically impossible. It confirms that the operation was conceived as a total narrative work, where every detail has meaning. The entity behind the operation does not simply perform a technical exploit, it signs a cryptographic performance of unparalleled sophistication. The detail that confirms deliberate intent. In-depth analysis of the addresses reveals an additional troubling detail. One of the destination addresses, the BC1QWQ5, blah 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 blah, explicitly contains the word FUCK in its sequence. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, FUCK. That's hilarious. In its sequence, this statistically quasi-impossible coincidence confirms that nothing was left to chance in this operation. FUCK. That's hilarious. Generating a Bitcoin address containing a specific word requires considerable computing power and a deliberate vanity address process. That the entity behind the operation took the time and resources to generate an address containing this provocative term reveals several things. 1. Artistic intention. Every element of the operation carries a message. 2. Technical mastery. The ability to generate a custom address demonstrates advanced expertise. Calculated provocation. The choice of the term FUCK is not random, but in an operation that defies conventions. And personalized signature, like the Lost numbers, it's an intentional trademark. The discovery adds to other artistic elements. Lost numbers, July 4th timing, October 5th deadline, to confirm that we are not facing a simple technical exploit, but a total cryptographic artwork. This sequence of messages reveals a sophisticated strategy mixing legal intimidation, technical challenge, and cultural references. The complete opposite of a single opportunistic hack. The technical hypothesis, the P2P-KH flaw finality exploited ? The uniformity of the targeted wallets and their P2P, that's peer-to-peer public key hash format raise a disturbing question. What if someone had succeeded in exploiting a cryptographic weakness? Vulnerabilities of the peer-to-peer public key hash format. The P2P-KH format, although still used today, presents characteristics that distinguish it from the modern standards. Independent generation, each address has its own private key generated separately. Absence of hierarchical structure, Unlike modern HD wallets, the BIP32 and BIP39, that's Bitcoin Improvement Proposal 32 and 39, no common seed. Variable entropy, the quality of randomness depends on the generation tools of the time. The exploited pattern theory. The most troubling hypothesis is that these 8 wallets share a common defect in their generation. Several scenarios are possible. 1. Faulty generator. Many paper wallet creation tools, popular between 2010 and 2013, used weak or predictable pseudo-random generators. 2. Insufficient entropy. If the keys were generated with a compromised random source, system, clock, faulty generator, they could be reconstructible. 3. Algorithmic pattern. Once a first key is cracked, analysis of its structure could reveal an exploitable pattern to identify other vulnerable keys. Historical precedents. This hypothesis is not pure speculation. Bitcoin's history records several cases of private keys compromised by generation defects. JavaScript generator flaws from bitcoinpaperwallet.com. Android entropy problems defined in 2013. Brain wallet exploits with 2 predictable phrases. If this theory is confirmed, we may be witnessing the most sophisticated exploitation ever carried out against Bitcoin. Legal staging, protection or demonstration. The legal sophistication of this operation intrigues as much as its technical aspect. The Salomon Brothers site and the claim procedure reveal a meticulously prepared legitimation strategy. A tailor-made legal framework. This site, solomonbros.com owner notice, presents a complete legal argument. Doctrine of abandonment. Funds are considered abandoned after 14 years of inactivity. What? Claim procedure. 2 ways to prove ownership: on-chain signature or official documentation. Grace period. 90 days to come forward until October 5th, 2025. And legal appropriation. After this deadline, funds could be legally claimed. Well, by who? So they've got Salomon Brothers here, the notice. This digital wallet appears to be lost or abandoned. Our client has taken constructive possession of it and seeks to determine if there is a bona fide owner. This legal notice is posted pursuant to and in compliance with applicable law, which is intended to provide an opportunity for the owner to claim property otherwise qualifying as lost or abandoned. The owner is provided 90 days to respond to this notice. In other words, an owner with a valid proof of ownership must respond before October 5th, 2025. If no response is received, the digital wallets and their contents will be considered to be confirmed as abandoned. In sum, the lack of a response may be provided to a court as evidence of the relinquishment of all rights, title and interest in the digital wallets. This is an important legal notice and rights could be adversely impacted if the bona fide owner of this digital wallet does not respond. Provide proof of ownership either by 1. Using the private key associated with the wallet in any on-chain transaction, which allows the owner to signal ownership while maintaining anonymity and costs an owner nearly nothing. Or 2. Sending Salomon Brothers a message using the contact form, see below, with a detailed description of your valid claim to ownership, including supporting documentation. Message can be sent by owner or owner's representative to maintain anonymity. Send a message via contact form below. Our client seeks ownership right to the digital wallet for which no valid owner responds prior to October 5th, 2025. Henceforth, no person shall trespass upon, infringe the rights of, nor attempt to extract any digital asset from this digital wallet without prior written authorization of our client, except for an individual or entity which can show valid proof of ownership. Our client reserves all rights and will act to defend its rights against any trespasser. Those wishing to contact our client may do so using the contact form below. Legal timeline, a surgical coordination. An analysis via the Wayback Machine reveals the temporal sophistication of this legal infrastructure. The site SalomonBrothers.com ownership notice was archived only 2 times by Internet Archive, July 3rd, 2025 and July 4th, 2025. All right. The digital adverse possession strategy. Beyond simple legal protection, this operation reveals a more sophisticated strategy, applying an ancestral common law principle to the digital world. The entity applies logic analogues to that of real estate or material goods. Quote here, I've taken possession of the abandoned goods, made it public, offer a 90-day contestation period, and without contestation, I become full and legitimate owner. This approach draws inspiration from several established key concepts, legal concepts. 1. Abandoned property doctrine. In certain jurisdictions, property can be considered abandoned if the owner has not manifested themselves for a determined duration, and if a third party takes possession in a public and open manner. Although timelines are generally longer, several years, the fundamental principle exists. 2. Adverse possession. Strong principle in American real estate law. If you continuously open and without permission occupy property for a defined period, often 10 to 15 years, you can claim full ownership. The entity transposes this logic to the cryptographic domain, exploiting the current legal void. 3. The 90-day rule. In certain legal contexts, foreclosures, transfers and claims, 90 days suffice to trigger a change in legal status in the absence of contestation. This period seems deliberately chosen for its recognition in various legal systems. Why this strategy is formidable. This approach raises profound philosophical questions about digital property. What constitutes abandoned digital property? Do 14 years of inactivity constitute abandonment? Who can claim ownership? Does technical possession trump historical rights? Does silence equal remuneration? Does lack of reaction validate appropriation? The entity exploits this fact that no law precisely defines abandonment in the Bitcoin universe, potentially creating a revolutionary legal precedent. Anticipated protection. This legal staging could serve several objectives. 1. Retroactive legitimation. If the operation involves a technical exploit, this legal framework offers an alternative legal justification. 2. Protection against investigations. Facing authorities, this procedure demonstrates a willingness to respect property rights. 3. Resistance test. The 90-day deadline allows verification that legitimate owners can no longer actively access their funds. The Bitcoin Talk precedent. A troubling element emerges from the archives in 2013. A user named Halipur had already mentioned one of these addresses on the Bitcoin Talk forum, suggesting it could be recoverable. This message, long ignored, now takes on particular resonance. Was it a prediction, an early test, or simply a coincidence? This detail adds a fascinating temporal dimension to the investigation. Wow. I mean, this is precisely the kind of effery that somebody we know would actually plan from the very beginning. Fascinating stuff. Implications for Bitcoin, myth or revolution. If this operation confirms the exploitation of a cryptographic flaw, the consequences for Bitcoin could be considerable. Questioning inviolatability. Bitcoin rests on a fundamental postulate: the practical impossibility of cracking a private key. If this postulate wavers, the entire edifice of trust could crumble. Impact on perception. The revelation of a flaw, even limited to old forms, would shake confidence in the wallet's inviolability. Market creation. A questioning of cryptographic security could provoke panic movements, particularly among holders of large old wallets. Forced migration. Holders of the old P2P KH wallets could be forced to migrate to more recent and secure formats like native SegWit. which is the look at Betch32, addresses starting with BC1, which offer better cryptographic resistance. Oh dear, yeah, but they're going through SegWit, removing all contractual credibility and therefore economic value because nobody has a claim on it. Oh dear, that's coercion. The spectre of Satoshi's wallets. The deepest concern involves wallets attributed to Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin's creator. These addresses, dormant since 2010, represent about 1 million BTC, mainly used the P2P KH format. If the revealed exploit applies to other wallets from that era, the consequences would be cataclysmic. Economic impact: putting 1 million BTC on the market would cause a price collapse. Crisis of confidence: compromising Satoshi's funds would question Bitcoin's very foundations. Community fracture: the community could divide on what course to take, hard fork, blacklists, etc. Possible community reactions. Facing such a situation, several reactions are conceivable. 1. Denial and minimalization. Some might deny the problem's magnitude or limit it to isolated cases. 2. Technical migration. Acceleration of the transition to a more secure standard, Taproot quantum resistant wallets. Well, that's a load of bollocks. 3. Protocol intervention. In an extreme scenario, a hard fork could freeze compromised addresses. And 4. Philosophical acceptance. Recognition that technical evolution makes certain wallets obsolete. Future scenarios: what will happen? October 5th, 2025 deadline approaches and several scenarios emerge. 1. Probable liquidation. Although no sale has been officially announced, economic logic suggests the entity could proceed with liquidating the 80,000 BTC after the claim deadline expired. This massive injection of liquidity into markets could cause a brutal drop in the Gridcoin price, trigger panic selling among the holders, attract regulatory attention to sellers' identities, and test institutional market absorption capacity. Because, let's be realistic, who would invest such technical and legal resources to simply keep Bitcoin? The objective is presumably economic. Scenario 2. Technical escalation. If other old wallets are compromised in the following weeks, we could witness a race to migrate vulnerable wallets, the emergence of a recovery market for abandoned funds, attempts to exploit Satoshi's wallets, and a massive exodus to more modern storage solutions. Scenario 3. The revelation. The entity could choose to publicly reveal the method employed, transforming this exploit into an educational demonstration. This transparency could: 1. Allow the community to identify and protect other vulnerable wallets, accelerate development of more robust cryptographic solutions, establish new security standards for old wallets, transform a threat into improved opportunity. Scenario 4. Status quo. In the hypothesis where the 90 days pass without legitimate owners manifesting, the entity could keep the funds without liquidating them, establishing a legal precedent, use them as collateral for other financial operations, redistribute them according to philanthropic or community criteria, simply demonstrate their capacity without profiting from it. Beyond Bitcoin, lessons from the crypto ecosystem. This case transcends Bitcoin alone and questions the entire cryptographic ecosystem. Planned obsolescence of security standards. Technological evolution inevitably makes yesterday's security standards obsolete. This reality, already observable in traditional computing, now catches up with cryptocurrencies. Lessons for developers: need to anticipate the evolution of computing capabilities and cryptanalytic techniques. Implications for users: importance of keeping storage solutions up to date and not considering security as permanently acquired. Platform responsibility: obligation to accompany users in migration to more robust standards. Redefinition of digital property. This case proposes profound philosophical questions about the nature of property in the digital universe. Does technical possession, key holding, take precedence over legal ownership? Can simply inactive assets be considered abandoned? What legitimacy to grant those to who awaken dormant funds, though through technical exploit? Impact on regulation. Financial authorities are following this case with attention. Its regulatory implications could be major. New obligations, strengthening security requirements for crypto service providers, legal framework clarification for the legal status funds recovered by technical exploit, international cooperation, need to harmonize regulatory approaches facing these new challenges. Conclusion. Silent revolution or narrative master stroke. Ooh. And there's a lot here. Let's just see. The 80,000 BTC case will remain in Bitcoin history, and all elements converge towards a troubling evidence. We are very probably witnessing the first major cryptographic exploit in Bitcoin history. The technical exploit hypothesis, quasi-evident. The operation's sophistication, its meticulous legal staging, and especially the perfect coordination of 8 uniform wallets, massively argue for a successful technical exploit. This elaborate legal protection would make no sense for simple owners recovering their own funds. Why this legal cover? Because sending $6.8 billion to a centralized exchange without legal justification would immediately provoke an international investigation. The staging of the 90-day deadline and the legal framework of abandonment offers anticipated protection against authorities. The timing is not random. July 4th, independence, lost reference, dangerous secrets, 90-day ultimatum. Everything converges to transform a technical exploit into a legitimized narrative performance. Two others, less probable hypothesis. Two opportunistic recovery. Truly abandoned funds have been recovered by their legitimate owners using staging to protect themselves legally. And 3, artistic demonstration. A Bitcoin whale orchestrated this operation as a conceptual performance mixing cultural references and power demonstration. The importance of October 5th. Whatever the true nature of this operation, the date of October 5th, 2025 will mark a turning point. If the announced sale takes place, we will measure the real impact on markets. If it doesn't take place, the mystery will thicken further. Better understand the potential exploit. What is exactly Randstorm vulnerability? The curious case of the half-half Bitcoin ECDSA nonce, and the CVE 2024 nonces and random numbers. Beyond speculation, this case illustrates a fundamental truth. Bitcoin is not just a technology, it is a living ecosystem where technical innovation, economic strategy, artistic creativity, and power play intermingle. Each transaction tells a story, each block carries a memory, and sometimes, like July 4th, 2025, these stories become legends. The future will tell us whether we witnessed a simple awakening of dormant wallets or the first act of a silent cryptographic revolution. In either case, the Bitcoin ecosystem will emerge transformed. Because ultimately, the case poses the essential question in a universe where code is law, so they're saying, who really holds power? The one who writes the rules or the one who knows how to circumvent them? This investigation will continue with developments on October 5th, 2025. The answers to our questions will shape the future of Bitcoin and the entire cryptographic ecosystem. Update to follow. Post-publication discoveries when the investigation reveals its secrets. So last update today. The ultimate Easter egg, 733 3rd Avenue. But the most striking discovery remains to be uncovered. By digging into the Salomon Brothers website, information, meticulous analysis reveals what could be the greatest Easter egg of its operation. A direct reference to the world of crypto forensics and one of the most famous investigations in Bitcoin history. Important clarification, this discovery, flagged by the user iSanSatoshi on Twitter, remains at this stage a troubling hypothesis rather than certainty. Nevertheless, the converging elements deserve to be noted as they fit into the sophisticated narrative logic of this operation. What's this to do with? Alright, what's this bit then? The counterparty signal code message to Bitcoin insiders. A new discovery reveals even more advanced technical sophistication. On July 2nd, 2025, the day of the first op return message, a particular transaction reveals a signal intended for a Bitcoin community insiders. Investigation note: this technical discovery was identified during the in-depth research on other potential messages, but it's thanks to expert analysis from Isan Satoshi that the precise meaning of this signal could be decoded. 548 sats, the historical dust threshold. The July 2nd transaction transfers exactly 0.0000548 BTC, 548 satoshis, to the official counterparty address. This amount is not random. The 548 satoshis corresponds precisely to the Bitcoin's historical dust threshold, the minimum amount for a transaction to be considered valid and non-spam by the network. Counterparty signal to Bitcoin's OGs. Counterparty is a decentralized protocol launched in 2014, built on Bitcoin that allows creation of custom assets and tokens. Using this specific address sends a clear message to insiders. The message being, I know Bitcoin's deep history, I mastered meta protocols, I'm part of the first generation. A sophisticated technical beacon, as a technical analyst explains, sending exactly this amount to the counterparty address activates a precise signal known to historical users. An on-chain beacon. The op-return message is a publicly readable, but it's the type of micro payment that speaks to insiders. It encodes an intention, a signature, a date, or a trigger. Technical profile of the entity. The use of the counterparty reveals an even more sophisticated profile. Authentic Bitcoin OG, knowledge of the first generation protocols, deep technical mastery, precise calculation of the dust threshold, community culture, signaling to initiate peers, and a meticulous planning, a signal sent from day one of this operation. Implications of this discovery. This counterparty beacon confirms the entity is not an opportunistic hacker, but a historical actor in the Bitcoin ecosystem, masters the entire ecosystem from low-level cryptography to meta protocols, communicates in multi-layers, public messages, op returns, and technical signals, counterparty, addresses different audiences, general public via lost numbers, insiders via counterparty. The puzzle complete, each discovery reveals an additional layer of sophistication. Community signaling to Bitcoin OGs via counterparty. This operation transcends simple technical exploit to become a total cryptographic artwork, mixing all aspects of the Bitcoin universe in a narrative performance of unprecedented sophistication. Nothing is left to chance. Every detail carries meaning. Every reference tells a story. This is narrative hort culture applied to the crypto universe. Wow, that is epic. That is epic. What an article. We are literally witnessing Bitcoin history as we speak and go through this. Wow, it's 42 minutes gone already. This next doesn't really... I'll just read the title here. So it says, Google Gemini is about to control your messages and calls even if you say no. Google's AI assistant is about to get full access to your calls, texts and WhatsApp even if you've disabled activity tracking. I mean, it sounds outrageous. On July 7th, Google's Gemini assistant will be able to send a WhatsApp message, place a call, adjust your volume, or set a timer, even if you've told it not to track what you're doing. And no, it's not something you need to opt into, nor can you opt out of it. It's the new norm. That's because Google is quietly rewriting the rules of how Assistant AI works on your phone. If you thought turning off Gemini app's activity meant turning off Gemini's reach into your personal life, think again. Gemini's going live in your app whether you like it or not. Jeepers. In WhatsApp as well. I mean, I might have to uninstall that. This is according to a notification email seen by Android police where Google says that it will roll out an update that allows Gemini to use phone messages, WhatsApp and utilities on your phone whether your Gemini app is active or not. I wonder if it's going to affect all the apps on your phone. What the fuck? What's actually changing? Here's what matters. Before now, if you disable Gemini app's activity, the setting that governs what Gemini remembers and uses to train further AI models models, you were cut off from deeper integrations. Gemini couldn't place calls or send text because it wasn't allowed to access that data. That barrier is about to vanish. Starting July 7th, Gemini will gain access to 4 key phone services: phone, message, WhatsApp, and utilities, volume, flashlight alarm, and media controls, regardless of whether you've turned activity tracking on. This means Gemini will now handle everyday tasks that used to be blocked for privacy conscious users. What to say? Text Alex on WhatsApp, and I'm running late with apps activity off. You'll be able to, but it comes with a new kind of data compromise. Oh my god. Google's workaround, access without memory. This is outrageous. Google won't save your assistant requests on your Gemini activity page or use them to train its models if app activity is disabled, but it will keep the data for up to 72 hours. Why? Google says this temporary window allows for service reliability and safety checks. It's safety checks, more surveillance, which is a corporate speak for making sure things don't break or misfire. That data, the messages, call metadata, and voice prompts live in a kind of grey zone. You won't see it in your history, you won't be notified that it exists, and you can't manually delete it before the 72-hour expiration. If that feels a bit like having your privacy settings overruled, you're not alone. What Gemini's doing here is technically compliant with your preferences, but only because Google has quietly redefined what off means. Oh my god. Can you stop it? Yes and no. Gemini now has a second set of toggles buried in its settings menu. You can go to Profile Apps inside the Gemini app and manually disable access to phone, messages, WhatsApp or utilities, but these are turned on by default even if you've disabled tracking in the past. There's no upfront prompt, no opt-in, and unless you knew to look for them, or happen to read a very specific footnote in Google support pages, you'd never know those integrations were live. So unless you go digging, Gemini now has deeper control of your device than the assistant it's replacing, and it's not something you've authorized. Oh my god. More than an assistant, sure, it's easy to see this as a minor change, but it's part of something much larger. Gemini isn't just a voice assistant anymore. It's being positioned as an agent, capable of understanding complex requests and acting across multiple apps. That's a huge leap from the Google-assisted days of Hey Google, set a timer. With cross-app prompts and generative suggestions rolling out across Android, Gemini is designed to handle multiple-step tasks like find my next meeting and message the team I'll be late. The catch is that it needs a deep integration into your personal apps to do that, and now it has it, even if you said no. It's not difficult to understand why this matters. Privacy isn't just about what it's stored, it's about what's accessible. And Gemini is operating on a new model, access first, memory later. That might sound like a good compromise. After all, Google isn't storing your requests forever or using them to train future models unless you explicitly allow it, but it also blurs the lines between private and impermanent. Gemini doesn't need to remember to function like it does. It just needs a few hours of access and your silence. And that's the problem, because if you don't know about this or didn't check your app settings, you're in a system that's quietly opting you in with no log, no prompt, and no accountability. Some may call that dystopian. Yeah, too right. What the hell? As if things weren't bad enough already. Oh my god. Anyway, let's have a quick look at 365 days of Big One history. 6th of July, because we missed yesterday, we've got the anonymous homepage changes. That was just a Marty Malmy email, number 197. On the 6th of July 2018, Crypto.com domain was sold for, I think it was like 69 million. Jeepers. Jacked on. All right, there. So that page is now no longer in existence. But yeah, July 6, 2020, the Georgia Guidestones were destroyed. I think everybody remembers this. Let's get rid of that advert. There we go. Check it out. These are the Georgia Guidestones, and there was an energy weapon that was used to destroy them. Look at that. Another angle of it. And this is what they look like now. And remember, it was the Georgia Guidestones that said keep the world's population under 500 million. We've now got like a 7 billion world population, which means they're going to try and reduce it by 6.5 billion. We all know how they planned on doing that. But yeah, look at that. They were taken down. Did they take them down themselves using the energy weapon because they didn't want people reading the rules on there? You're hiding it as ever, just like they did with Albert Pike's letter to Mazzini, where it was first displayed in the British Museum, and then when people started waking up to what was going on, they then hid it, probably. But anyway, yesterday was the anniversary of their destruction. Right, jeepers. And then we got today's date. So the 7th of July 2005 was the London bombings. 7/7 was Cockney rhyming slang for 9/11. That's why they did it. So they used 9/11 to bring in the surveillance state in the US, and that's exactly the same excuse they used for London, the 7/7 bombings. 7/7, 9/11. There we go. And Rupert Lowe is the only MP who actually sort of pointed out quite correct here. He said, look, lives weren't lost on 7/7, they were murdered. Like, absolutely. Is what they were. He certainly expresses it in the way that people feel, which is really, really good. We've got another Marty Malmy email. And then on the 7th of July 2010, Bitcoin experiences its first price spike. It rose 900%, so that's a 9x over 5 days, from 1 cent to 8 cents. Wow, and that happened on the 7th of July 2010. Check it out, amazing. Right, there we go. That's the end of the show. We've got the Kel and Schweller countdown. We're now Monday, the 7th of July, meaning we've got 73 days left until the countdown finishes. It's going to be exciting. So as I said before, click that subscribe button. Stay tuned. It's going to be exciting. And until then, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.
2 years ago, you got SegWit, which we lied and cheated and stealed, and I was part of the lying and cheating and stealing to get SegWit, to get Lightning, which, by the way, had critical vulnerabilities and lost people's money.
The king still has one more move.
Remember, Bitcoin is BSV. Everything else is BS.